But if you haven't heard, there is some craziness going on in the NBA lately. You already know, we've talked about it here on the channel, what's been happening with the NBA and what's been happening with this entire gambling scheme involving Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, involving Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones. But now it looks like we have some more drama with Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, and one of his star players, Kawhi Leonard. Now, before we get into the main topic, which is some breaking news, we're going to talk about and rewind a little bit to something that happened in September. It was alleged that Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer were involved in this scheme to actually get Kawhi Leonard some more money so he would stay playing for the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, many of you know how the NBA is structured. If you don't, I'll explain a little bit. The NBA teams, they have a salary cap. And once you go over the salary cap, you cannot pay people anymore. If you do go over the salary cap, then you have to pay certain, I'm not going to get into the details. You have to pay certain fees. There's aprons involved. It all gets really messy. But essentially, you want to stay under the salary cap. You pay players a certain amount, and then that's what they get. Now, players get money, and they get other money through endorsements. They get money through signing with other companies. They get money through other businesses. And it was alleged that Steve Ballmer, he set up this fake company and actually paid Kawhi Leonard endorsement money through that, basically to get by not being over the salary cap of the NBA. It's going to be a lot better explained here by Fox 11 News in LA. So y'all check this out. And then we'll fast forward and talk about what's happening with this new lawsuit against Steve Ballmer. Here we go.
There's a strange story making the rounds today. Investigative journalist Pablo Torre of The Athletic alleging on his podcast that Kawhi Leonard was paid $28 million by a tree planting company for a no-show job that allowed him and the Clippers to circumvent the NBA salary cap. The Clippers are denying the story, but the league will be investigating. The company, known as Aspiration, is said to have gotten off the ground with the help from Clippers owner Steve Ballmer's $50 million investment. But its co-founder recently agreed to plead guilty to defrauding investors out of almost $250 million. In a statement to the LA Times, the Clippers say neither Ballmer nor the team subverted the cap, and they ended their association with Aspiration years ago. No comments so far from Kawhi Leonard.
All right, so that's what happened there. Allegedly, the NBA is still investigating. And if you look at this article from Fox Sports, they explain a little bit more of how this could have potentially been done. The Clippers finally released a statement about what happened with this Kawhi Leonard payment that he received. So the LA Clippers released a statement following a revelation from Pablo Torre that star forward Kawhi Leonard signed a $28 million endorsement deal with the fraudulent tree planting company funded by $50 million from team owner Steve Ballmer. So he basically said, hey, I'll give y'all $25 million, or I'll give you $22 million. I'm going to give you an extra $28 million, and that 28 needs to go to Kawhi Leonard. I got to keep him on the team. It was a no-show job to help the Clippers circumvent the NBA salary cap, allegedly. Neither Mr. Ballmer nor the Clippers circumvented the salary cap or engaged in any misconduct related to Aspiration. The Clippers said in a statement to The Athletic, any contrary assertion is provably false. The team ended its relationship with Aspiration years ago during the 2022-2023 season when Aspiration defaulted on its obligations. Neither the Clippers nor Ballmer was aware of any improper activity by Aspiration or its co-founder until after the government instituted its investigation. Do y'all believe that?
Stop the cap.
The team and Mr. Ballmer stand by, ready to assist law enforcement in any way they can. Crazy thing with the Clippers, there's already been someone who's had the team taken away from them when it comes to Clippers ownership. All right, y'all remember Mr. Stern? But it would be interesting to see what happens here with Steve Ballmer if something comes out from this investigation and the next investigation we're going to get into, and the Clippers get turned over to somebody else or forced to be sold again. That would be wild. If the reporting of Torre turns out to be accurate and the Clippers did circumvent the salary cap, the punishment, per the current collective bargaining agreement in the NBA, would involve a fine as much as $4.5 million. Steve Ballmer is a billionaire. He doesn't care. The loss of a first-round draft pick and the voiding of Kawhi Leonard's contract. It is what it is. At the heart of this story in the company, Aspiration, which received $50 million from Ballmer, filing for bankruptcy in March and reportedly still owned Leonard $7 million. Excuse me. That's because Leonard is listed as the manager of the corporation, KL2 Aspire LLC, which is among the creditors that Aspiration owes money to. Aspiration was since faced legal allegations of fraud. Kawhi Leonard signed with the Clippers in 2019 after winning the NBA Finals with the Toronto Raptors the previous season. He signed a 3-year, $153 million extension with the Clippers in January of 2024 and has signed 3 contracts with the franchise. The second one being a 4-year, $176.3 million extension in August of 2021. The 34-year-old Leonard is a 6-time All-NBA honoree and a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Last season, we don't care about that. Kawhi Leonard is Kawhi Leonard. So what is happening now, you're all wondering? Well, let's hear from the man himself, the man who first broke this investigation into Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers, and Steve Ballmer. He has another update for us with this new lawsuit against Steve Ballmer. Shout out to Pablo Torre. I'll leave a link to this video and this short in the description. Here we go.
So the thing that I'm going to show you right now is a new lawsuit filed in Los Angeles against Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. And it was filed by 11 Aspiration investors who allege that Ballmer used the company, which is now called Katona, to, quote, secretly funnel millions of dollars to star NBA player Kawhi Leonard, paying him more than allowed by the NBA's salary cap rules. You're seeing screenshots from the complaint in this video right now. They go on to say, quote, Ballmer was complicit in and aided and abetted co-founder Joe Sandberg's fraud for his own self-serving purpose to evade the NBA's salary cap.
Woo, Kawhi Leonard, man. Laughing all the way to the bank. This guy is getting that money over there in LA. Hey, shout out to him if this is the case.
The lawsuit goes on to say, quote, plaintiffs would not have invested and or kept their investment in Aspiration if Ballmer and Sandberg had disclosed the true nature of Ballmer's investment. And I just spoke to Aspiration investor Skip Miller, who provided a statement. Skip Miller is the plaintiff's LA-based counsel, as well as somebody who had money with the company. And what he tells Pablo Torre finds out is that, quote, a lot of people have been hurt here. This lawsuit is being brought to recoup their losses. We look forward to our day in court where everything will be aired out and justice will be done. And the lawsuit says, in particular here, quote, the full extent of Ballmer's transfers of funds will be ascertained in discovery. And so I'm going to put a link to my newsletter at the bottom here for more. You can get a PDF of the lawsuit, and this is just beginning.
Yep, and shout out to Amy. She actually got the full lawsuit for us. We'll be going over that in a second. But what do we have here from Pablo Torre? He lays it out and says, Clippers owner Steve Ballmer has been sued by 11 Aspiration investors who allege Ballmer used the company, now is named Katana, to secretly funnel millions of dollars to NBA star Kawhi Leonard, paying him more than allowed by NBA salary cap rules. What does it say in this indictment? We'll get into the lawsuit shortly. The arrangement was that Ballmer would be an investor in Katana, and in return, Ballmer would use Katana to secretly funnel millions of dollars to NBA star player Kawhi Leonard. These funds would be channeled through Katana to Leonard so that Ballmer could induce, or I guess they meant to say induce. That's a weird way to say it. Induce Leonard to re-sign with the Clippers by covertly paying him more than allowed by the NBA's salary cap rules. Also, it served Ballmer's interest in getting money or extra money to Leonard so he could circumvent the salary cap, beat out the competition, and re-sign the team's superstar player. Ballmer was complicit in and aided and abetted Sandberg's fraud for his own self-serving purpose. Ballmer publicly endorsed Katana and infused over $50 million into the company. Absent Ballmer's support, Katana could not have sustained the fraud set forth herein. So basically, they couldn't afford to pay Leonard, and he just made this and built this, allegedly, so he could pay Kawhi and convince him to stay. Plaintiffs would not have invested and or kept their investment in Katana if Ballmer and Sandberg had disclosed the true nature of Ballmer's investment. Ballmer thus supported and participated in Sandberg's fraud. Sandberg and Ballmer never disclosed the truth about Ballmer's investment in support of Katana. Sandberg and Ballmer never disclosed to the plaintiffs that millions of dollars Ballmer injected into Katana were meant to allow Ballmer to funnel compensation to Kawhi Leonard in violation of NBA rules and keep Katana's failing business afloat financially. Sandberg and Ballmer's scheme to pay Kawhi Leonard through Katana to evade the NBA salary cap was only later revealed in 2025 by journalist Pablo Torre. And shout out to Pablo for putting in the good work. It also says the plaintiffs allege that Ballmer transferred other funds to Katana to keep the company afloat and by Sandberg's support, cooperation, and silence about the secret deal with Leonard. The full extent of Ballmer's transfers of funds to Katana and Sandberg will be ascertained in discovery. Ooh, that's not good. Yikes. And we have some more detail here from Yahoo Sports. We're going to get into the indictment in another video. Aspiration investors filed a lawsuit against Clippers owner Steve Ballmer over Kawhi Leonard scandal, and they actually spoke out about this. Los Angeles Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, at least according to nearly a dozen former investors, knew exactly what was happening with the Aspiration Kawhi Leonard scandal. Ballmer was sued by 11 Aspiration investors on Monday, according to journalist Pablo Torre, alleging that he used the company to secretly funnel millions of dollars. According to the lawsuit, Ballmer channeled funds through Aspiration, which is known as Katana, in order to induce Kawhi Leonard, as we just read, to re-sign with the Clippers by covertly paying him more than allowed by the NBA salary cap rules. It's a smart move, honestly. And if his fine's only $4.5 million and he gets to keep Kawhi, is it worth it? Do y'all want to know how much they made from having Kawhi Leonard there? A lot of money. Ballmer was complicit and aided and abetted in the fraud, the lawsuit says. The plaintiff also alleged that Ballmer transferred other funds to the company in order to keep it afloat and by co-founder Joe Sandberg's support, cooperation, and silence about the secret deal with Kawhi Leonard. The allegations in the lawsuit are what Torre first reported on his podcast, Torre Finds Out, in September. Ballmer allegedly used what was essentially a $28 million no-show marketing deal, basically meaning that, hey, we're just going to pay you this money for you to say that you're with us, that you work with us. And that deal was between Kawhi Leonard and Aspiration to get around the NBA salary cap rules and pay him more, per the report says. Ballmer invested $50 million into Aspiration at its founding stage in 2021. The NBA is now investigating. Ballmer has denied any wrongdoing. He told ESPN that any deal Leonard had with Aspirations was made independent of him and the Clippers. Leonard and the Clippers agreed to a 3-year, $103 million deal in 2019. Ballmer insisted that he had no control over this company and that the company conned me. So Steve Ballmer said he's the victim. He said the speculation is what it is. Why did they do that? I don't know why they did what they did, and I don't know how differently it is. And frankly, any speculation would be crazy. Would it be crazy though? No. I mean, if you're a billionaire and you're thinking, okay, let's see, is this worth the risk? If I give them this money and then we have a handshake deal and then they sign and give Kawhi Leonard an extra $28 million and then Kawhi Leonard stays and then the ticket sales do well. And then I end up making $200, $300, $400 million from this. And then I have to pay 10% of that. I think it's a good deal. Isn't that what your business mind would think? So, I mean, to say that speculation is crazy, Steve, come on. We know how business works. These guys who committed fraud, look, they conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me. At this stage, I have no ability to predict why they might have done anything they did. The Clippers went 50-32 last season and were knocked out of the first round of the playoffs for the third straight campaign. They hold a 3-2 record this season, entering Monday night's matchup with the Miami Heat. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. We're going to get into the full indictment here shortly. And in another video, y'all make sure you check